Hello chums, it is I, Jinder, song inventor and gig performing man, touring idiot and general snappy dresser and all round reasonable egg. Here I am back once again with another episode of my Guitarchaeology thing, talking about my various steeds of the musical pasture and what they represent in terms of my relationship with them. And today we're going to be talking about this little beauty. You're probably looking at this and thinking, it's a Gibson CF-100. But it isn't. It's a unsightly tuner alert. Let's get rid of that. It's a Sigma. It's a Sigma. Are you ready for this? LGMC-SG100F. Not sure what the F stands for, but you can decide for yourselves. And before I start rabbiting about it, let's take a little listen to it. Well, the notes were somewhere near where I left them last time. So yeah, this is a really cool little guitar. And now my history with this guitar only goes back about 2 years or so. I was struck down by awful medical dramas a couple of years ago. I was in hospital for a couple of months. I had like endocarditis, where basically your heart kind of shits the bed, and I had sepsis and brain abscesses and blah 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 blah. I've all heard this crap before. So yes, I was under the weather, and unfortunately, as a result of all of that, I was left with rheumatic heart disease and whatnot, which unfortunately at the time, whilst I was undergoing treatment, damaged all of the connective tissue in my joints, which made playing any kind of instrument extremely painful. And I wasn't sure whether I would ever be able to play guitar again. Thankfully, my faculties for playing guitar and generally doing my job have returned, and my body is in reasonable fettle, and my joints have healed up quite a bit. Still painful to do long kind of stints of playing music, but we're talking like 4 hours or 5 hours. I can get through gigs and tours and recording sessions and all of that stuff fine, which is great. I'm very pleased to be having a second bite of the cherry, old son. Very pleased to be given a second go around and to not be dead, which is the main thing as well. So hurrah, I can carry on writing songs and making records and going and playing shows to you guys. But when I came out of hospital, I couldn't play guitar at all, which was slightly unnerving. And initially, I got hold of a tenor guitar with 4 strings, one of my favorite artists, Jason Molina of Songs Are Higher and Magnetica Electric Company, Magnolia Electric Company, used to play, and I played tenor guitar for a little bit. But everything was painful on my shoulders, joints, elbows, fingers, everything. And playing a large guitar at the time, my J200 or something like that, was just too painful. So I thought I need a smaller guitar to get me through. And this guitar has 24.75 inch scale neck, so a nice short scale neck and a small body. It's roughly the same size as something like Martin 00 or a Gibson LG 123, one of those. And I was wandering around Absolute Music in Poole, and this was hanging on the shelf, hanging on the wall like that, in the manner of 10 green bottles. And I thought, that looks nice. I picked it up, and it was, hold on, I have the receipt still in the case from a couple of years ago. It was 479 quid, plus they threw in a case, a lovely TGI hard case for an extra few quid. So for about 510 quid out the door, I came away with this. And it was actually, I must say, it was my late father who paid for the majority of it, for he was aware of my musical woes, and he very kindly came and offered to lend me the money for to buy a guitar that was a bit more comfortable to play. Yes, thank you, Dad, for that. And it's a guitar which I was just expecting to use it for a little while as a stopgap until I could kind of get my body working again and get playing once more. But I actually, I really love it, and I think it's one of the coolest guitars I own. It's a really lovely instrument. It's got this Venetian cutaway, which is very nice. I've always loved the Gibson CF-100 and CF-100E models from the 50s, but obviously to buy one of those you're looking at, you know, nowadays 6, 7, 8,000 quid, which is not some money I'm likely to run into anytime soon. So this is of course also an off-the-shelf guitar. It's new, it comes with a warranty and everything, and if you buy a guitar from 1956, it doesn't generally come with a warranty. If it does, it's probably expired. Yeah, structurally this guitar has a beautiful sunburst finish that is as good as any of the Gibson sunburst finishes. How are they doing this? This is crazy. Martin can't put a decent sunburst on most of their guitars. A lot of their sunbursts look like they were done by a clown. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Martin guitars, and my D18 is one of the best guitars I've ever played, but it's not a sunburst one, it's a natural one. Gibson are the kings of and queens of sunburst. But that's just a stunning sunburst finish. And if you look at the silking and the it's like three-dimensional, the Sitka spruce on the top, absolutely gorgeous. Like sunlight piercing dappled clouds on a summer's day. It has Grover open back vintage style tuners with ivory buttons. It has a bone nut and a bone saddle. It came with a pickup that I hated. It came with a Fisherman's Sonic or Sonitone or something pickup, which just sounded like someone trying to take the front off a cat with a cheese grater. So that came out, and I've used the end pin to, when I do need a pickup, I pop one of my Sunrise pickups in it and live happily ever after, because those are magnificent. And I've used this guitar for writing as well as rehabilitation, getting my fingers working again. I've used it for some songwriting, and I've also used it because it's small and the case is small. I've used it for gigs that I've had to fly to, which is an unexpected bonus, really. It's came with me to play the music festival in Paxos last summer, which I played with my friends Michael Weston King and Deborah Greenwood, playing the songs of my late friend Jackie Leven, and it's been hither, thither and yon with me ever since, really. I haven't done any recording with it yet. That's one thing I haven't done with it yet, because it's quite new to me and I haven't really spent a lot of time with it in a studio environment, but it's fabulous. I love these strings. I've used these on various guitars for years. Thomastic Infeld Spectrum strings. They are not exactly inexpensive strings, but they last a very long time, and when they do start to age, you get a lovely kind of woody kind of bottom end with them. I mean, these strings are best part of a year old. These are the ones that came to Paxos with me in the summer, and obviously very hot, humid environment over there, sweaty as well. You know, as I am a gentleman of a certain size, you do tend to find yourself perspiring a little more than my skinny compatriots in these tropical climes. But the strings, the Thomastic Infeld strings, last very nicely and mellow into this beautiful kind of sunset sort of sound, which matches the lovely autumnal sunburst of the guitar. So I'll play a little bit for you. It has a solid Speaking about the top before I forget, the solid Sitka spruce top, and it has mahogany back and sides. I don't know if these are solid or laminate or what, but you know, it's a, you know, it's just, it sounds great. It's got a rosewood fingerboard, fretboard and bridge. The later ones have rich light, which is like a compressed paper and resin kind of compound. Rich light's controversial. A lot of people, and Martin use it on some of their models. I used to have a Martin 00DB, the Jeff Tweedy signature guitar, which was made of entirely of sustainable woods, a sustainably farmed mahogany. The whole guitar was mahogany, the neck, body, top, back, everything. And it had a rich light bridge fingerboard. Personally, I'm a traditionalist with instruments, but I loved the feel of the rich light fretboard and bridge of the guitar. It played like butter and it sounded great. That little Jeff Tweedy guitar, which I actually part exchanged on my, to get hold of my 2015 Gibson J200, which I did a video on previously. That little 00DB Jeff Tweedy guitar was just stunning, and it didn't matter to me that it had rich light appointments. That was absolutely fine. I don't have a problem with rich light whatsoever. Some people really do. Some people say it should be ebony, it should be rosewood, it should be this, it should be that. But for me, rich light, you know, have at it. But this is one of the earlier LG, BTQ, SJ, BDSM, TTFN, ITV, whatever model guitars it is. So this actually has the rosewood fretboard and bridge, which is quite nice, but I wouldn't have minded. I wouldn't kick Rich Light out of bed for eating crisps. It's all fine. So I'll play a little bit for you. This is a song by Townes Van Zandt, or a little part, musical part of a song by Townes Van Zandt called If I Needed You. How cool is that? Such a cool little guitar, and so inexpensive. I've had a few small-bodied Gibsons. I had a early 2010s LG2 American Eagle Gibson, which was the same size as this, and I had that for a couple of years. This is better, the better guitar than the LG2 American Eagle. I had a 1968 Gibson B15, little mahogany bodied guitar, same size as this. This is better than that was. I've had a few L00 style Gibsons, which are a slightly different shape to this. I had a 2009 Blues King L00, which was about as good as this is. I had a 1994 centenary year Blues King L00. This is slightly better than that. I borrowed my good friend Lottie Mullins' L00 Legend, which dated from, she bought it when we were on tour. She was opening for my old band, the Mercury Men. She bought that guitar from Guitar in Glasgow. It was a lot of money and was a sensational, authentically spec'd replica of a 1930s Gibson L00. That was better than this, as you'd expect. It was about 10 times the money and was finest modern iteration of that style of guitar. It didn't totally trounce this. I would say there wasn't like a gulf of difference, you know, but this is again, the notes were parked somewhere else when I left it, I swear, officer. So that's it. It doesn't sound like a cheap guitar. It sounds like a, you know, it's got some really nice... really nice kind of rich mid-range, which is something that these little guitars are very good for. It doesn't have a preponderance of bass or anything like that, but it is full and present, and it's just very balanced. I mean, it's barely been played in. It's only a couple of years old, and I think, you know, I'm going to hang on to this guitar for a long time, mainly because it has a lot of usefulness and also has sentimental value, as my late father bought it for me, or helped me to buy it, and it's just a cracking little guitar. It's worth so much more to keep than it is to part with. It doesn't take up much space. It's great for gigs I have to fly to, and it's just a joy to own. I look forward to doing some recording with it at some point. I think it'll be a fun thing to do. But yeah, so that's it. The Sigma LGMC-SG100F. Enjoy.